This is my good friend and colleague, Paul Kirschbaum. I'm Leslie Wooten. It's 10:33. Let's get into it. Today's episode is menu design, and this is part 4 of our menu series. We went over analysis, we went over creation, menu development, which is a whole lot of fun. And if you listen to part 3 of this with development, you can hear some crazy stories that Paul and I go into about moving some random people in New York into their new flat, into their new apartment. But this is menu design. And this is where I get really excited and Paul gets really technical. And that's okay. So Paul, yes or no, there's an absolute science to the colors, placement, pricing, overall layout of a menu?
Absolutely, 1000% yes.
There's a science to it, okay?
Absolutely.
But even if you don't know the science, don't some restaurants make this work anyway?
Yeah, they do. I mean,
Okay.
it's not a perfect science, but it's pretty damn close.
Is it possible to have a successful restaurant, a great menu, without using proven menu design techniques?
Yes, there's also reality stars.
Yeah. So it is possible, but we're here for this episode, the final part of our menu series, to discuss all the ways that you can use menu design to your advantage and get the most out of it. So you may not get the flash in the pan. You may not get the fad restaurant. You may have a successful restaurant, but menu design can easily help you take wherever you are to the next level. And if you're starting a restaurant, menu design may be the reason that makes you or breaks you. So we're going to cover several parts of the menu design. We're going to talk about pricing. We're going to talk about layout, placement, and we're going to talk about prominence. And so we started talking about prominence a little bit in the previous one, but let's start with pricing. Possibly my favorite part of this entire thing. We already know what our menu costing is, but pricing is a little different. My biggest question and the thing I look at every single menu I ever see, round off to the nearest dollar or go with the retail favorite of 99 cents or $9.49 for this.
I think I land on two sides on this one. In general, I round up to it's a solid dollar. Like, you're not tricking anybody. But what I kind of over the years have changed it back to a little bit is depends on your check average. If your check average is over $12, I just round up. If it's below $12, I'm okay with the 99. I'm okay with the 59. I'm not okay with 49. I'm not okay with 45. I'm not okay with 55. I'm not okay with 95. You're worth 4 cents.
But weren't you also worth 41 cents to get you to the rounded off dollar?
If you are a brand new restaurant opening up, yeah. But if you are been around for 20 years, sometimes having a pricing strategy is the best bet. Yeah, I haven't changed my pricing in 3 years. Well, you're going to get hit, and you're going to piss off a lot of people because it's what they're used to. So, you know what? As you said, the 41 cents may be less, but maybe that's part of the strategy. Maybe you go from 49 to 59, and then you go to 99, and then maybe after a couple, that's how you have to think about it, because we just don't whip around and add $2, $1 to something. When if it's a diner, 41 cents is a lot of money.
Right, and that's why I like you picked a $12 point, and I like that a lot, because if I'm talking about a $22 entree, the difference between $21.59 and $22, I'm not worried about that. But if I'm at a diner and I'm looking at something for $4.59 versus something for $5, that $4.59 looks a lot different, because that gap there is much wider percentage-wise than this $21 to $22. So I completely agree with you with the type of menu you have, the price point you're at really should be the deciding point of if you're rounding off or if you have a solid number, a solid integer for your pricing on the menu.
Integer? What do we? Wow, I've heard that since like middle school.
I literally went to college for math, so.
Oh, I got a phalange. It's a phalange.
Thanks, Paul. This is also an integer.
Sorry. No, so, keep going.
No, it's great. That's not coffee in your cup. I get it.
Yeah.
How important Is it to have easy to find, easy to read pricing on your menu, or do you want people to focus on the food itself?
Oh, hide that price, hide it. I
Really?
don't need to be, don't need to focus, hide it. It should be not, so if you have like, let's use, you know, I love chicken wings. We're going to go there. So if you had buffalo wings and then you had the description, and then that's what you put right at the bottom of the description. You make sure the font is exactly as the description, and you don't highlight it. You don't make it bigger. If anything, you do not want people to price shop. Most people price shop. Let's be honest with you. I don't care how much money they have. So you don't want to hide like we can't find it, but you don't want to put it prominent. It should not be bigger font or different font than what your item is. So if it's chicken wings, it shouldn't be the same font. It should be a smaller font. It shouldn't be bold, and it should be in the description tucked in. So it's not like, and if you put dots, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Like what about having all the items and everything over here, and then menu pricing all down this way?
No, because then you're
people end up shopping like this. They go, oh, I like $17. What is it?
Yeah, they will probably. I'm telling you, it is probably the biggest thing. And never put the money sign, the dollar sign.
No dollar sign.
Nope.
Why?
It makes like it gives that feeling like I'm spending money. We all know that, but it is proven to take that off. It's proven. Who by who? Not me, but somebody proved it.
Take the dollar sign off so that they go, I'm spending numbers and integers, not cash.
Yeah, not in phalanges. So, no dots, no dollar sign. Just if you're over, if you're a gastropub and your check average is $15-$20, just go solid $18, $19.
1.8.
1.8, and make sure it's not in bold. Make sure there's no dots. Make sure it's not a space or two. That's all you need. I think people get the old times of having your entree and then the dot all the way across the number.
Yeah, it's not a table of contents.
No.
Right. So should you list your items on the menu from high cost to low cost, or low cost to high cost, or avoid putting the cost of items in any particular order?
Well, that's where comes into analytics and then everything else we talked about in the past 3 episodes. It doesn't matter about that. That shouldn't matter. It should be about margin. So you want to put your most popular, you put your stars at 1 and 2, the highest margin at 1 and 2, best food cost and popular. And then on the bottom end, let's say if you have 10 items, on the 10th slot should be at least the 3rd or 4th, strongest seller. But do not arrange them, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9. I walk into a restaurant and I'm looking at the appetizers, always something cheap, like $4. I'm like, why? And I ask operators, well, it's an add-on for the checks. Like, I go out to dinner a lot. It's not about add-on. It's about, I want that. Right. Looks awesome. Put your calamari there if you get a good price for it. Put something there that will boost your check average. We talk about this all the time. There's only 2 ways: butts in the seat and check average, and this is how placement, prominence work. So
the cost of the item, not the cost of the item, the price of the item should not be involved with the placement of the item at all.
No, but I mean, in general, sometimes the higher price items are on top because it's the best margin in general. But that is not the leading factor. It's not because
we're talking about the margin, not the price of it.
Exactly. Margin is more important than the prices.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about layout and placement then, as we're getting into that.
Yeah, that's back to the top. Like if it's a star, which is high margin, great margin and popular, does not crush the kitchen, put that the number 1 spot. It's by category. So if let's say the appetizers, number one
at the top.
At the top. Number 2 usually goes right below it. Sometimes people like to put the number 2 on the bottom, and they put number 3 at the 2nd spot. So let's say there's 10 spots.
1, 3, numbers 2.
Yeah. And that's where, but that's not saying the stuff in the middle is not good. It's just saying it's not the best margin. Right. And this is where you can hide your plow horses or your puzzles to see, or really it's plow horses. Puzzles, we're kind of re-looking at those. But it's really where you hide your plow horses. You're going to sell them. It's like wings. Put the wings in the middle. Put your chicken tenders up top, because usually it's a better margin. It's the same margin. I'm sorry, the better margin.
Yep.
But a better food cost. at the same price points. That's what I meant.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a reason menus around the world and historically typically follow the same order that we dine in? I usually see menus that go appetizers, entrees, desserts, and drinks, and that's usually what I expect on a menu. Is that some form of nostalgia, or is there science behind it? Why do they have the same formatting of start to finish? You start with apps, then entrees, then desserts are at the back of the menu. Is that expected? Is that normal? Why is that happening?
It's kind of expected, and there is a science behind it. I mean, placement plays everything. So we're talking about category placements, but there's menu placement, where your eye goes first, where it goes second, where it goes third, and where it goes last. So, I used to always hide certain things on the menu because I know they're going to order them.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a lunch place, I'm hiding the salads like no other. I know they're going to order them, and I know where to go, but I want them to order this stuff first.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you're saying if I know you're going to order it, I'm going to force you to look at it, and let's talk about theories and layout. The same reason why supermarkets put milk at the back of the store.
Yes,
they know you're going to buy milk. I know for a fact you're going to come buy milk and bread and eggs and all the basics. So I'm going to make you walk past everything else to get there with the hope that you grab an item of chips or whatever on the way. It's the same idea that you're saying there is, I know you're going to order these things. Why would I put it at a convenient place?
And things have changed in the last 30 years. I mean, 40 years. I mean, in the 70s, the average people, the average person spends time, the average time somebody spends looking at your menu is 109 seconds.
Okay.
30 years ago,
it probably
quadruple the time. You know what I mean? So but we're stuck.
Where were they going? There's nothing to do back then. There was no Google or Apple. They didn't have a phone.
No social media. Where was the book of faceness? That's why the appetizers were always there, and that's where people think to start. Now, have I done that? Of course. Have I actually thrown appetizers somewhere completely different? I sure have. It just depends on your clientele, depends on your demographics, it depends on a lot of different things. But like you said, the milk theory, like make them go through your menu.
Yeah.
But do not make it hard for them to spend money. And that's where don't make it busy. We love a lot of white spaces. Yeah. Make it very simple. I do not need a paragraph telling me how your food and what preparation, and that you found the recipe from Grand Uncle Joe, who had one leg that had a dog that had 3 legs. Don't need to know that stuff.
Tell me more about Joe and his 3-legged dog.
We call him tripod. Sorry.
No, at least together they had 4 legs. So what's the benefit to having a single sheet for a menu versus a book that some corporate restaurants have?
I go back and forth on this. Pictures do sell, but not at a gastropub. I would never put pictures on my menu. So there are that thought, and if they're pictures, they better be very good. Yeah. Now, I like 1-page menus. I hate them when they're too big. I like legal size, or that, the legal size is it's about, keep it thin and long, but I don't like when you get you're got a poster board,
it's like a science project display.
Yeah. And I don't like the Greek diner syndrome either. Like when you flip it through, you're like Italian sushi.
Oh.
Bring in hot pot. Breakfast, okay.
You should have learned that in your analytics. Yeah.
But I think that the overall design, like you're saying, is very important.
Now you talked about having that page in there that's like the about me, like services we offer, like here's our menu. And that reminds me of a web page where I do want to learn about that, and I do want to see that. And big current consideration, especially with COVID-19 hitting restaurants really hard, physical menus are becoming scarce and potentially a thing of the past if you really think about it, because online menus are moving to the front of people's expectations. You were talking about reading about Joe and his 3-legged dog. Like, that's on your About Me page on a website. How much consideration needs to go into your online menu, and is it the same principles as your physical menu?
I'm going to answer that twice. So with
Right.
About Joe and his three-legged dog, that's for your social media page, not for your menu.
Yeah.
Your menu
Yeah.
is your number one marketing tool. More people, everybody's going to see your menu. They don't really, honestly, at this time, when they're in your restaurant, they don't care about Joe. They already researched that before they came in your place.
Right.
So I agree with you on that. When it comes to online, absolutely, we're going that way. With QR codes, I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
really big right now. And there's different ways you can do it. Some are doing it really, really well. There's some high-end places that do it, that integrate with your website. My big thing is just drive traffic to your website.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure you have a website and not a
Your,
Facebook page.
your phone that you walked into a restaurant is becoming the menu now.
Yes. And
you're
also,
expected to have access to it.
Absolutely. And also make sure your menu on your website is not a PDF or a picture, because then Google search can't pick it up, can't pick up keywords. So that is a part of the whole thing. It's like, that is part of your design, because that is the physical menu you're going to get when you walk into a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
How many people look at your menu before they go to dinner there?
Oh, I'm going to argue all of them, because I don't know the numbers. I don't know the real numbers. I'm going to go all of them.
Let's even guess it was 80%. Let's just
Sure,
guess it was
all
that.
of them.
But still, like,
why aren't they looking?
It needs to be done right, and and people will, and you still want to be able searchable and have keyword search, especially if you have a unique menu. That stuff's important, and that's not just your physical menu. That is your digital presence menu, Facebook, Instagram. Your website's number one. All this stuff needs to be thought about prior to launching your new menu.
A slight pivot, to go and or delivery. Is that also the same menu?
If you put your exact same menu for delivery and to go, you miss the boat. You not all your items on your menu are made for to go, unless you are a to go place. You know what I mean? So we always have this conversation like, no, should you put nachos to go? No, they're going to be soggy, and it's not getting the same experience. So you should have a great design for it to go. And then usually I talk to customers a little bit, like, I would highly recommend not putting pricing on your to-go menu. And the reason why, because people hold on to to-go menus, and then on the bottom you say you drive them to your website for current pricing. Then you spent all this money designing and placement, all this stuff, and then when you have to do it again, you have to do, because when you print to-go menus, you have to print, what, 500 at a time?
Depends on,
I mean, a little trick.
I was going to say like 2,000 or 3,000, and like, you're printing a lot of menus that people are going to throw away. Goodness. So what are the big overall objectives with layout and placement? And what are the must-haves? And then what are the red flags? Like, don't do this, that people do all the time.
Pricing and placement and prominence are the most important things. Just, where it goes. Like, I don't make menus pretty. We talked about this last time.
I'll do that.
Menus pretty. My job is to make your menu more money.
And what you mean by that is you're not a designer. And a lot of people are like, no, this is menu design that we're talking about. Like, we're not talking about the graphic design part of it. I'd be happy to have a whole nother conversation about that for graphic design, where yes, this might guide us to some of it, but oh my goodness, we're not talking about the visual design of a menu right now. We're talking about where things go and why. Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what kind of place you are, and how much information we put on your menu. But really, that gets into your graphic designers or somebody that wants to make it pop. Mine is not the pop. Mine's my goal is to make it more money, and that comes to placement, prominence, and all the little P's I've been throwing around all the last 4 shows that we've done. So that's important. Now, color, font, general layout. How big are your margins? Where's my logo? Are we putting a number on there that this is the number menu, the dates? Are we, depending on what kind of operation you are? It all comes together, but you still got to get placement done right, because that's where the money comes in. Now, buzzwords and font is important, very important, but placement and prominence and the right pricing is, I think, the most important thing.
Fantastic. And then you move into colors and font and the size of everything. And I think of McDonald's as red and yellow, but I also know for a fact that red and yellow are colors that make people hungry. Have they capitalized just those two colors? Can you use red and yellow on your menu knowing that it's going to make people hungry, but also knowing that a lot of people associate it with fast food? What do you have to know there? Have they taken that from us?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, you said this to me. Like when you put red on your menu and you put it in bold, you're yelling at somebody.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Yeah. Even if it's I don't care if it's all caps
Mhm.
and black or gray, but you put it in red and it looks like you're yelling at somebody. But black and gray, it doesn't seem like that way. So
Correct.
it does. So those are things you got to think about. I mean, there's volume of your music, how bright your lights are. I mean,
Mhm.
all that stuff has been it's been proven. I mean,
Yep. And
I haven't read through all the documents.
think about that. So I teach that with a lot of facilitation or with leadership, and how you respond in emails to customers, clients, your own employees. And as soon as you have this entire communication that you have wanting to go out to somebody, as soon as you put red letters or bold letters or capital letters in there, it doesn't matter what you wrote in the first and second and fourth and fifth paragraphs. What you wrote in bold, what you wrote in capital red letters, is the only thing they're going to read. And the tone of that is, I'm angry. And if you do that same thing on your menu, you're calling out one thing on your menu. And I think that's the point I'm getting into, is don't have just one thing on your menu, blend it together. Is that not something that you would apply to a menu?
No, I would do, but like it's funny because you said that, because I do put red in my emails, and it's only all my red is only on the dates because I want them to remember that. So when I put dates for like I do a timeline,
Okay.
but again, I've seen people put red on their pricing. It's like that's all they're gonna remember is that pricing. They're not gonna think about the food that they talked about. You are right. You have to make it blend. You have to make it look smooth, and you have to understand who's reading and when they're reading. Like nothing drives me more crazy when they have and I know it's a little different with COVID, but like a paper menu, and it's a bar place or a place that has like different kinds of beers, and the table gets wet, and then you put the menu down and it sticks to it. It's like it ruins the menu, or I don't know. You have to think about all the little stuff that goes into it.
Side note, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was the greatest thing ever, but I was in a speakeasy in West Palm Beach and asked for a menu, and he's like, absolutely. And he grabbed this one menu that he had off the shelf and handed it over. And it's got a picture of him on the front. And when I opened it up, it was him giving me a big middle finger of, I'm the menu, ask me what you want.
Oh my gosh. We do not recommend you do that.
It was awesome. I was like,
oh, that's so
I let him make me whatever he wanted. But he was just this little bartender, ran his own little hole in the wall above like a laundromat, or I don't even remember what it was. But, I'm looking around, there's no menu anywhere. I'm like, oh, do you have a menu? And he's just so calm. Oh, of course, here you go. And he gave it to me. And I was like, nope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. Like, don't make it hard for people to spend their money. Like, don't make it hard. Like, just make it easy. If it's a QR code on the table, but you have to understand not everybody understands what that is or how to do it. So you have to still have options. And
you got to have a backup. Mm-hmm.
You got to have a backup. And even if you have digital boards, I've walked in places, I'm just like confused. I'm like, I don't know what to order. And it's just like, it's so much information. And I'm not going to read the descriptions walking into a quick service place, So I mean, the biggest thing is make it easy to read, make it simple, hit your buzzwords. I don't need a book about each ingredients. Make sure they're listed in order. That's a good one,
Okay, tell me about that. Items, ingredients listed in order. Do you have to have all ingredients on there?
No, not at all. But you need, like, if it's like chicken marsala, you do not have to put chicken in the description. We get it. We know chicken's there.
But if you're listing a burger and you list mayo, do you have to also say no ketchup, no mustard, or do you have to list all the condiments? Do you have to put every ingredient on that burger?
No, you don't have to put everything ingredient in that. That's where you come in. That's where the training comes in. That's where training comes in. You make it simple. Buzzwords. I would never say put mayo on it. Even if there's mayo on the burger, unless it's completely different than anywhere else in the region, I would say don't put it on there. I would say Focus on, hey, this is where like, it's a beef burger. It's a burger, but you don't say beef burger. You say burger. So then it's okay to put, hey, this is chuck, short rib, and brisket. Buzzwords. People like that stuff. You know what I mean? That's what I would list. List the things that you think would make people more likely to buy it.
Absolutely. So what are the red flags? What do you not want to see on somebody's menu that maybe you have seen, maybe you haven't seen in a while, that would absolutely make you, training and development. I walk in and I see staff that doesn't care. I see staff that's on their phone, not paying attention. They barely say hi to me. That tells me that the managers don't care, and that tells me that the kitchen doesn't care. And I'm really, really hesitant to order any food based on the interaction of guests that is, or of employees that are poorly trained. So let's take that same consideration toward the menu and your expertise. What might you see on a menu that would go, they don't know what they're doing?
Spelling mistakes.
Oh, okay.
And I am one of the worst spellers of all time. And I'm
Fact.
okay with one little thing. And this is, this. I get as many eyes on that I can. I think spelling mistakes, major ones, consistently. Dots. If I see dots.
The menu items and then the price.
That's probably the worst one. I can get over the spelling a little bit, but I can't get over the dots. When it's so busy that you can't find where you're even what categories. And I see them. They think it looks cool with this it like trails off and goes, like back in the day. I think what was that Crab Shack? I can't remember it. But it was just such a busy menu. It made it hard for me to understand. Yeah, remember back in the day, like they had like stuff all over and things and buckets, and it just was too much.
I avoided that place because they sing "Happy Birthday" to somebody next to me, and I can't handle that.
Yeah, you're just weird. Yeah, that's weird. So I think that like just this is your number. I can't say this many times enough. How many times have I said this? This is your number one marketing tool.
We should have a count right about here. Just ding. Say it again.
Number one marketing tool. This is the one thing in your whole restaurant that everybody's gonna see. The mall. It should be done. You should just put money into it. Don't be cheap on your menu.
Money, thought, expertise, like get people to
pay for it. It's not expensive. It really isn't. And this is something that it's something that's so important that people miss. It's just like this is, they're gonna order my food. My food speaks for itself. Not everybody that comes to your place is gonna order your food or order everything that you think is your most popular. Right. So, but they're gonna look at a menu. Drink menu, food menu, they all need to be branded right. They all need to be smooth, easy, professionally done, organized correctly, and made to make you more money. And if you don't, you're missing the boat and a lot of money. Think about it. A couple bucks a day add up very quickly.
Yep. Use the same tone, use the same voice for each menu description if you're including descriptions on there. Fantastic. Any final thoughts on the entire menu discussion? I know we haven't gone into details because this is an overview of everything, and we're happy to add details for anybody who has any questions, and we'd love to get granular, and I know that we have. But any final thoughts over this entire menu discussion?
Take your time.
Yeah.
Just take your time, because it's the littlest thing that's going to bother you. It's just the spacing of it, the layout of it, how it. We've all done a document and then put it onto a PDF, and it shifts.
Yeah.
Those little things.
I've not done that. I know where it's going to end up, but yeah, I understand that not everybody can do design.
Yeah. So.
Stab.
Anywho, I know, I saw that. So I'm gonna use Comic Sans font next time.
I'm gonna mess up a PDF for the next 24 hours, and it's gonna be because I said that to you.
I think you just take your time. Take your time. Yeah. Take a little effort. Send the menu to the person you think would be the most critical about. You know what I mean? I send my menu to Les because he's just a dick, and he just likes to just destroy my menu and make me feel this big. But he's right. A lot of stuff he's catching is right. I don't agree with all of it. And some things I'm not going to listen to him. because I don't think he's right on that one. But when he
I,
goes,
I,
Paul, your spacing is completely off, and I look at him like, I spent the last 30 hours staring at a menu,
mhm.
and I've seen it so many times. I'm not catching the littlest detail, and that's why you send it to people that will catch that because they're not looking the same way you are.
There's a reason that writing and editing are two different jobs for the same project.
Yes,
You cannot be your own editor. And to my credit for helping you out, one of the reasons that I think you still come to me, and one of the reasons why I think I get a lot of progress with consulting and helping other people out, is because would you send me a project like that, I'm gonna go, these are the things that are wrong, and here's how to fix them, and here are the things that are my opinion about them. And I think when you're like, I don't agree with that, that I'll separate that. I'm like, I don't care if you change any of this. This is how I would do it. But these are the things that you need to change because they're wrong for these reasons. And
spelling, spacing,
right.
whatever. And we're the same way. And I don't have that luxury with most of my customers. I can't get into that part. So sometimes I have to be very careful, but when it comes to, spelling mistakes, spacing mistakes, this little stuff, yeah. I mean, you got to tell them that and that's why you get, if you're running a restaurant, and you're doing $1 million a year in sales, you probably have a big food service company. I guarantee they have somebody on board that would proofread your menu and look over and see if there's anything. I guarantee they have something that's all they do. So use your resources, and if you don't, that's just laziness. Be honest, this is lazy,
right there.
and this is way too important to guesstimate.
Or maybe it's not laziness. Maybe it's just overconfidence. Which, goodness, get some help. So, final question for this entire thing: how easy is it to go back and change everything once it's all done?
It's a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pain. You can do it, and we can change some things, but you're talking changing everything. It's start over again or starting from beginning.
Which is the reason why, and you said it earlier, take your time with this.
Yeah. You're going to make a lot of mistakes on the way. If you're doing this at home on your own computer, every time you save a menu, save it daily. So put the date on the bottom. I'm just telling you from experience. So let's say you do this version, put the date on it, and then maybe the next day you go look at it and you're like, what did I do? Why did I do that yesterday? At least you can go back to the one before and you have dates on them. And then it's easier to print, it's easier to track, it's easier to keep things organized. Just be organized and take your time because you're going to make a mistake.
That's it. What a fun series.
All right.
So I think that's everything you need to know in order to get yourself and your team into some serious conversations, debate, struggles, success over the centerpiece of your restaurant, the menu. And for everyone out there who's been through this process, give us some feedback and share some stories. Leave us a comment. Be sure to subscribe. Show us some love. We'll keep coming back with more strategies and insights to help you improve your operations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.